Okay, welcome to Campfire Chronicles, episode 30. I'm Robby.
And I'm Bryan.
I'm Andrew.
And today we're going to be talking about our previous trip and some other stuff. So we previously went to Dolly Sods very recently, there's a new episode.
Next topic.
So by the time this podcast comes out, the episode will most likely be out.
It should be.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So go watch it.
yeah. And it was the grand return to, like, the first place we ever went for an official Adventure Archives episode. One of our most favorite places ever, right?
Yeah. Dolly Sods.
Yeah. And also the first time we ever filmed it in 4K.
Oh, right.
That's
yeah.
true. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, because the first episode was just trash tier 720p. Second time was 1080p. Now we're at 4K.
Yeah,
So the next time we go, it has to be 8K or 6K maybe. Actually, we could do 6K. There are 6K cameras. We do 6K, then 8K, then 12K.
Robby was at Micro Center and he sent a picture. It's like 4K is amazing or 8K is amazing. I was like, we're getting an 8K camera.
I was we upgraded Andrew's computer recently, so I was at Micro Center, and while I was waiting for the store pickup, there was an 8K TV just sitting there, and they put it at like right next to the checkout line because you have to look at it while you're waiting. And you're like, I think I should get that.
You know, I wonder what would be involved in seeing if they would display our stuff on that. I mean, there's probably a lot more hoops. Like the company probably
really isn't our audience. Like,
No. I mean, we got like nature shots.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
could put a reel together.
Well, anyway, let's back to the topic. So this was our third time there. This is your second time there,
correct.
and this is your first time in the summer.
Right.
Do you want to elaborate on how you felt seeing it not in freezing cold?
Well, so I don't mind winter camping. I think it's a lot of fun just because of the sheer difference it is from, not camping in winter. But with it comes a lot of like enjoyable things like no bugs, no sweating. Well, minimal sweating if you're dressed properly. But that last trip just couldn't, the winter trip just could not compare to the last trip. The weather was unbelievably perfect.
Yeah.
Like it was the definition of perfect.
Yeah.
And for the entire trip too. And, there were plants growing everywhere, and you just had this sense of euphoria the minute you stepped onto that trail.
Yeah.
Like you knew that was going to be a good hike. And
The colors popped too. I feel like.
And I think with the winter trip, there's always this little like sense of like anxiety or doubt in the back of your mind, just like because something can go wrong, and in the winter it's gonna suck. But in that trip, like I just felt good the whole time. You just didn't really until I sank into the mud. It's like nothing could go wrong on this trip. But yeah, that was by far one of the best trips I've been on, and obviously the best trip to Dolly Sods.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. And you could tell because how crowded it was.
Yeah.
Like it was Labor Day weekend, but the amount of people that were there, I think
like the street leading up to Bear Rock's trailhead was literally cart.
Yeah,
there
it was like
cars
over
lining
a
the
mile of
streets.
cars.
Yeah.
It's like a conundrum because it's like I want more people to see it, but man,
yeah.
it was kind of crowded.
I feel like we can't take that attitude because I've seen people who comment on like our Pictured Rocks video, and they're like, well, thanks a lot. Now there's going to be more people here. And it's like, that's really not the attitude you should have about this.
Yeah.
kind of
Well,
thing.
like the key, I think, is to make sure people who are going there are being responsible. And
And I think that's the thing that we and other YouTubers have to do is try to convey the sense of responsibility that's needed to enjoy this kind of thing for many years to come.
Yeah.
So, that got deep. What? That got deep. Anyways, so you guys, it was your third trip there.
Yeah.
And I'm going to take a guess and say that was your best trip there.
Yeah. Well, actually.
Or was the first one still
I think the
best?
first one was just so mind-blowing.
Yeah.
I said it a little bit in the episode, but it's weird how much that place was exactly what I wanted the outdoors to be.
Mm-hmm.
And to this day, nothing else has really like gotten that exact same flavor. I think we'd have to go to like Europe or something to get that type of flavor, like going through castles and
Oh yeah, like
I do want to add something too that I was thinking of. The campsite we stayed at the first night, even though we had trouble finding a campsite, just that field, that was like literally what I wanted in a camping experience for so long.
Yeah.
Just wide open camps and like the entire sky just above you and like views in any direction you can see.
We have had sites like that though, haven't we?
I don't think we've had anything just quite like that.
Yeah.
Especially, like I said, considering how perfect the weather was and everything.
It is funny how that site ended up being a really good campsite. Like, because at first even when we found it, I got there and I was like, oh, this is kind of like rough ground.
Yeah.
But man, like, we were right on that hill overlooking this view, like beautiful vista at night and like open sky. Also, some of the best stars we've ever seen. Like,
It was so funny because on the way in, there was this couple that had the best campsite in the entire park. You guys know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. And it's so funny how quickly you can get petty. Like, we saw that campsite. I was like, man, that should have been our campsite. As if we deserved it over like the literal hundreds of other people in the park.
Well, it's funny because I think at one point on camera, I'm like, if anyone's gonna like walk through the night searching for a campsite, like the scraps left of a campsite, it might as well be us. But it was funny because we kept talking about like, oh man, those two better be really enjoying that campsite.
Yeah.
Like they better be having the time of their life.
If they left early and we're just like, let's just go home and left that campsite unattended all night, they're just travesty. Pure travesty.
It was like right on the top of a hill, like nice, beautiful, grassy, soft ground overlooking some views.
Yeah.
But man, that was so nice.
So one question I have for you guys is, what led up to the decision of going to Dolly Sods again? Like, was there some sort of train of thought?
Literally just Thomas said we could always go to Dolly Sods. I think we were trying to go somewhere else, but weather,
the weather,
or time was
driving
distance.
The original plan was to go to Ozarks,
right?
And that's like an 11-hour drive.
Yeah.
Either coming from Texas or from Ohio.
Yeah.
And also there was the hurricane,
Oh,
like the week before it.
That might have been the big thing.
Yeah.
Is that you said the hurricane was coming in
Well, I feel like back during the
Causing more
Land
rain.
Between the Lakes trip, we were originally thinking of Dolly Sods if Thomas could go with us, but he ended up not being able to go on that one.
Oh.
Or at least we were talking about it. But
And well, I mean, it also worked out because eventually Thomas ended up driving up to visit his parents, I guess, for a few weeks. So he was in town, and it just made sense to go to somewhere within driving distance, so to speak, from where we were. So
yeah.
And Thomas hadn't been to Dolly Sods, so I guess we kind of ended up with that.
Well, here's a question. Do you guys think that after the pandemic is over, this is kind of going back to what we were just talking about, but do you think after the pandemic is over, people will be going outdoors as much as they are now? Because I feel like that it has contributed to, at least that specific trip, there being so many people there. I mean, for one, it was Labor Day weekend.
I don't know.
But for two, people don't have anything to do that they would normally be doing.
Right.
It's hard to say.
Yeah, because I feel like once someone gets into the outdoors, they stay into it.
Yeah.
But then there'll be other things they can do too, so they might not be doing as much.
Yeah. It could be that, I mean, this could just be kind of like, like the gateway drug into like backpacking.
Yeah.
Some people, like if you take, hundreds of thousands of people that all, go on a day hike and then 5% of them realize they like backpacking, then that's a decent amount of increase, I guess. So.
What do you guys think of the new trails that we did?
I thought
they were
great.
great.
Yeah.
So we did that outside trail with all the rocks and stuff. I had seen a Joe Robinette video a long time ago of him doing Dolly Sods and going through rocks. And I remember thinking, I was like, oh my God, that was there? And we never knew it. It's so cool how the place is almost like its own little Yosemite, so to speak. Like it's got its own little valley because the edge trails on the outside are all on the top of those ridge.
Yeah.
It like kind of depresses into the center,
Yeah. It's really cool.
Yeah,
the Rocky Ridge I feel like was one of I was like, because I had actually been there not for an Adventure Archives trip, but a while back, and I remember just being like amazed at all these weird rock formations. So I was like really pushing to do that one. I think that was one of my favorite parts of the trip, but also like the area on the last day right before we got back to the trail we were used to, where we stopped at that creek and like filled up on water.
Oh yeah.
Like that was such a good moment too, because the weather was just like perfect. We were eating those like fruit leathers.
Oh yeah,
such a good
Thomas's
time.
fruit leathers.
One thing that it doesn't necessarily have to do with Dolly Sods, so to speak, but because let me just say, so when we were hiking in the winter video, that last hike up through the fields to that parking lot area, I remember in the winter episode, I was like so worn out and I just wanted that trip to end. And then this time, I just was like, man, this trip has been great. Like I wasn't tired. I was tired, but I wasn't like mentally exhausted. I didn't want to like just be like, I just want to go home. And I think, and the only reason I attribute this with Dolly Sods is because it was literally the exact same path, so I can like relate to how I felt on the exact same location. But I just think it points to like over the years, like how we've acclimated so much to just the activity of backpacking in general. I don't know about you guys, but I definitely noticed, or I one of the strongest memories I have actually from all of our earlier hikes is that the last day was really tough on me, really miserable, and I would like literally just be dragging myself to get to the end of that, and the thoughts in my head were just like, this trip's almost done. And now like the more recent trips, you know, like I have more energy, and I don't like stay on that thought of like I want this trip to be over so I can know rest.
That is kind of interesting. Like I feel like our endurance has definitely gotten a lot better. Like by the end of a trip, I'm not so worn out that I just never want to walk again. You know,
I wonder if it has something to do with just the efficiency we've gotten with filming. Like you guys are a lot faster with shots. You're a lot more decisive. So rather than getting like, you know, 5 shots in like a span of like 10 minutes, we only have to get, you know, 2 or 3 shots.
Maybe.
Yeah. So
Our technique has definitely like improved in a lot of ways, and that like I feel like it is a little more effortless sometimes to get good shots, but also like we've come up with strategies where we can get more dramatic shots without having to like walk as much. So like with the telephoto shots,
that's
we
true.
can just spread out and then stay close to the camera. But
Well, actually, Dolly Sods is a funny thing because there is a compilation in Dolly Sods of us literally running back to get the camera, as if running back to get the camera is sustainable. Like now we're just like, no, you walk to get the camera. Like you don't
put your
need
pack
to kill
down.
yourself.
If it's far away, just put your pack down and walk and get it.
Part of that was also just fueled by the excitement of the first
trip. No, I mean, I think that's what, once we've done it so many times, we have a better idea of like, is this actually worth the effort to do this crazy shot? But at the beginning, we were just like, let's just do everything. And then as we've gone on, we're like, well, we don't need to do that exactly, you know? So
I was going to say, that is always a really good sign of a sign of a really good trip is like when you are like, oh man, I want to stay out one more night. I felt that this trip, but also Grayson Highlands and like Minister Creek, I think.
Oh yeah.
Just perfect weather and great campsites.
So we also had a dog. So we had a question in the chat or not a question, but a comment that said, it was fun seeing Sierra along on the trip. I was amazed at how easy it is to hike with the dog. I didn't have to take care of her at all.
I feel like Thomas definitely displayed a lot more anxiousness in terms of just how Sierra was doing during the hike, which is natural because he's her owner. So as you said, not having to think about that or worry about that probably kind of changes our image of how easy it is to hike with a dog. But I mean, clearly dogs just have a natural tendency to, you know, follow the trail and stuff like that. Because, so my parents have suggested I bring Ellie, my cat, hiking. And I was like, you clearly don't know what it's like to own a cat or even try and bring it outside on a leash or something, because that is not practical unless your cat is very well trained.
Yeah, there's some cats that'll do it.
Yeah. There's some cats, but those cats are like, they're outliers.
You would need like one of those baby carrying things on your backpack.
I was talking about like I'd need like a specific backpack just to keep her in the hiking the whole time, because there's no way I'd be able to control her on where she goes. She'll literally just probably sit down in the trail and I wouldn't be able to do anything. And then like at night, I wouldn't be able to leave her just like roaming around in the tent because she'll just claw
You'd
her
have to
way
put
out.
like special shoes on her or something. Well, I think they make like little rubber things.
Yeah, I mean that's probably another thing. Yeah, because I'm sure her like paws wouldn't be like durable
little
like a
rubber
dog's.
cat booties.
I know they do that for dogs too, for like the rougher trails.
Yeah, I was surprised that how easy it was to film with the dog too. Like, it didn't take a whole lot of time to get it to go. And
to be honest, like just getting shots of the dog is like, it's just pleasure, like enjoyable.
Yeah.
Because it adds so much.
Well, it's funny because I've never been a dog owner, so I didn't realize that dogs could just walk for miles, which sounds really stupid when you say it out loud. But for whatever reason, when I saw Sierra, I was like, she got like all that long fur. She's like, she sleeps all the time. Is she going to be able to walk the whole distance? And she, I'm sure, could have easily outwalked us like tenfold. But yeah, she did great.
Yeah, she was going even faster than Thomas apparently.
Oh yeah, because she was kind of pulling him along.
Which, if you think about it, that she had to have been like at a jogging pace with her height and legs and stuff, for a dog,
I guess, yeah.
right?
I don't know.
Sure.
Not a dog owner, so we don't know. Cool. Okay. What was the second topic? The kookery.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So
yeah, Andrew.
Oh, well, I did have a question, actually. Another question. So Dolly Sods was our first together trip since the pandemic started. Did you guys find that it affected the experience at all in any way, or did you feel like the experience was different in some way? At least, well, between us or even with like interacting with other people? Like, how did you feel during the hike when that?
Well, the main thing is that I was super excited to do it again.
Yeah.
It was so much fun to actually be with other people.
Oh, and I guess we should preface this by saying that before we actually got together, we all actually quarantined ourselves for like at least a week and a half.
Yeah.
Just to try and be as safe as possible.
Almost the full 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But no, it was so. What's the word? Like when something's been building up for a long time and then finally it releases.
I don't know if we can say that.
Well, whatever it was, that's what it felt like. It was just
Satisfying?
relieving.
really? Oh yeah. Oh, my phone's got an alarm.
It was very relieving to finally be able to hike with other people.
You were like, "What's the word for relief?" Oh yes, relieving.
But as far as interacting with other people, I mean, in the outdoors, you generally have a lot of time. The only time it was uncomfortable was one time we were waiting on the trail for another group. We were at an intersection, and there was a big group in front of us. So we were waiting for them to get out of the way. And this couple came over from the other direction. We were going this way. They were coming this way.
Yeah.
Just we were heading towards each other. But in between us was this other group. And the couple, they didn't wait for the group to get out of the way. And they
didn't make an effort to try and like ask people to get out of the way.
Yeah. They just started like walking around, and then they came by us, and they literally said to us, "Get out of the way."
Like,
or what did they say?
they were like, "We're trying to maintain a social distance."
That's what the wife
Yeah.
said, but the husband.
I didn't hear what the husband.
The
said
husband, I think he just said, "Get out of the way," or can you guys? Oh, he said, "Can you guys get out of the way?" Like in a very derisive tone. And I was like, "Dude, we're waiting for them."
Yeah, and also you have to understand that he said that as he was like walking past us.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't they stopped and were like, "Can you guys get out of the way? Could you, we're trying to be safe or whatever." They literally pushed through us and like chided us for doing that. And we were trying to stand as far to the edges on the side of the trail as possible. And like Robby said, we weren't with that group. We were just trying to wait for them to get out of the way. But it just seemed we were just like so taken aback.
Yeah, that was the only unpleasant aspect of it, really.
It's funny because I was like back on the trail filming a tree or something, and then I feel like they did give me a weird look, but I didn't really think about it. I was like, I probably just imagined it.
Yeah.
But then you guys asked if they like said anything. I was like, no.
Yeah. I don't want to be like too negative about people towards this whole pandemic situation because everybody's
everybody's having it rough. Yeah.
But it's just like you don't own the trail,
like,
and everyone's dealing with the same situation. So everybody needs to like have some sort of amount of courtesy towards everyone else.
Like I get it in the sense that like we should be safe and stay distant, but it's just weird to do that as you're like walking right by them.
My only thought process was that they came to this junction and they saw like 10 people standing there.
They was kind of taking up the whole.
But even then, it's just like, just ask people to get out of the way.
Yeah, they probably thought we were all part of the same group.
Yeah.
So like, why is there like 20 people here in this intersection not getting out of the way? Not realizing that some people were waiting for other people.
Yeah.
So
because I remember walking up and seeing all these people. I was like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Well, okay. On the opposite end, what was your guys' favorite parts of the trip?
Man, it was all really good. Honestly, I think probably I feel like the morning of the first campsite, waking up to that was really nice.
Oh yeah, that was great.
Because we had gotten there when it was dark and we couldn't really see what was going on, but just waking up and seeing like the blue skies and the sun was kind of coming over the horizon and everything. That was a really great way to wake up.
That is a good part, yeah.
What about you guys?
I'm still thinking.
I think that is up there actually. The morning. I think also getting to that second campsite was really nice.
I was gonna say that, but then you guys would be like, "Oh yeah, of course he's excited about getting to a campsite." But no, that was also a good one because that was a great campsite too.
I don't think I have anything in particular, but man, it was a really good trip. It was fantastic. Like we couldn't have asked for a better one after such a long hiatus.
Yeah. For sure.
It was like Greedo was rewarding us
Yeah.
with our patience.
Yeah, we got to think of a new place to go or another place to go for next time.
Like I said, I'm totally down when the weather's good, like warm again, to go to North Manitou again. I think that place deserves a second visit.
Yeah, for sure.
And we definitely hiked the whole thing this time.
Dolly Sods, I was going to say one more thing about it, is that I'm willing to go back there ad infinitum. Like every like 20 episodes we can go back. And I mean, we haven't even done all the trails yet. I'd love to eventually do all the trails.
I'd like to go back and do Grayson again.
Grayson, yeah. West Virginia, like
Mountain Mama.
Wait, isn't Grayson Highlands in Virginia though?
Oh, maybe.
Yeah. But
that area, that region, like I don't think it's disappointed me yet. Everything is amazing there. But anyways, so now we're going to talk about the kukri.
Okay, yeah, so recently I had another like burst of knife lust, this was back in my last year of college when I first I was really getting into bushcraft stuff. This was even before Adventure Archives.
Keep talking. I'm going to type a question.
Yeah, I remember like looking up all these different knives on YouTube and on Amazon and stuff and shopping for them, and I eventually got like a Mora knife and then later got a Condor knife, but I hadn't felt that sort of knife lust in so long because like...
Can I adjust this without making too much noise?
No, it'll be fine.
But yeah, I hadn't felt that sort of knife lust in a while just because like once you have 2 or 3 knives, it's like you have more than enough. I know I was never going to become one of those people that have like 50 knives like hanging up on a wall or something.
Yeah.
But for some reason recently I was like thinking about the
Knife
kukri.
lust.
And the reason I think this knife in particular is because like I've also gotten into martial arts recently, and this is also like a combat knife. Mm-hmm. So it's one that a lot of bushcrafting people use to like chop wood, and like mostly chop wood, but but it's also a killing knife. But I was like the idea of having a tool that combines both of my not that I would ever actually use a knife on someone, but it's like the knowledge like. If you get to a point where you know how to use it, that's kind of like satisfying, to know that you could if you had to.
Okay, so maybe you can answer this for me now. What's that little notch down at the bottom for?
Yeah, so this notch,
there's cutting rope or something.
No, there's a lot of different theories from what I've heard. I haven't like researched it too hard, but like some people say it's like a traditional religious thing, like for like Hinduism. Some people say
goucha.
Some people say it's so that like the blood will drain from that point when you like stab somebody. But I think the most convincing thing I've heard is just like a spot. I mean, there's probably a traditional thing, but it's a spot where you can start sharpening the blade. So on every knife, there's something called a choil, which is like where the edge of the blade stops. Because now you have like something here for the stone to be up against. Because if it ran all the way down to the handle, it'd be harder to sharpen.
How about? Well, I guess you haven't sharpened that knife because I've got your whetstones, but. How do you think it would be sharpening like a blade that's curved so awkwardly?
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'd have to... So I have 2 stones. One is like flatter and one is a little more worn in. And I'd have to use the worn in one, I think, and just like experiment with that. But I feel like it would be kind of like sharpening an axe blade. I mean, it's very axe-like. It's very heavy towards the front. So you can really chop with it. But also the handle has like this ring here. So the handle has this... Yeah, I've heard the reason for that is because when you're like stabbing someone, not that I would ever do that again, but it's so that like there's some sort of a grip for because you don't want to stab and then have your the resistance. Yeah.
Oh man, that'd be horrible.
That's why most knives have like
a guard. Yeah.
So 2 questions come to mind. First one is what is the shape of that for? And is the shape define what a kukri is?
Yeah, I think the shape is like the biggest factor, like the forward-facing or leaning blade or whatever. I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's like that just so there is more like chopping power.
Okay. Here's my theory, at least based on what I'm, my initial analysis is that slight forward curve of it lets you strike whatever you're trying to strike a little earlier.
Yeah.
And so like lessens the risk of you like. So if you think of it like you're hitting something right down here, right? So you don't like impact your hand when you're trying to like chop, I guess. Whereas like with a knife, you're doing like this, and it's a little more of an awkward, like you have to like kind of angle it so that you're hitting it like this, right? So your hand is like this way. I don't know if you can see this on the camera, but
No, I see what you mean. Like if it was just straight, it'd have to be a longer blade or something, probably.
So it's more of like a natural chopping motion where your hand and the knife blade end up horizontal. So,
which is why people use this a lot for like chopping wood and stuff, or splitting wood. And like, so as far as combat knives go, if like this side of the blade was the sharp one, that's usually for like when you're like slashing and stuff. So blades that are curved back, like a katana or a scimitar. But as for like actual bushcraft uses, yeah, people use it for wood, and then you can kind of use this part of the blade for like finer work. But traditionally the knives also come with these two smaller knives, and so one is sharpened
for the price of one.
One is sharpened to actually do like whittling and stuff, like finer work, and then one is just blunt, but it's kind of like a butcher steel, so you can like hone the edge in the field. But
Okay, so that leads me to my second question. Is perfect. What is the difference between honing and sharpening? I heard about honing for the first
I can
time.
actually answer this if you
And
want.
do you hone?
I don't care.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Okay, so
Yeah.
so sharpening is the act of actually like you reduce the material along the blade and actually sharpen it. Honing is when the point of the blade like starts to become dull because it's not like it's like if this is the blade, like after hitting things, it kind of like bends one way or bends the other way. There's
It curves,
nicks in
kinda,
it, right?
yeah.
They call it
and
like
you
a
hone
burl.
it to straighten those parts out, kind of like just realigning the edge.
Yeah. Do you hone your blades? Because I don't feel like I've ever seen you do that. But isn't that something you could do like anytime? Like that's what they do at Chipotle, right? They're like,
I don't really take care of my knives.
Well, remember when you used to?
I think
use the
everybody
belt to
knows.
do that thing?
Yeah.
Is that honing it, or
So
is that something else? I
think
can't remember.
I feel like that's a mix. So that's called a strop when you use like a leather thing, but that's to get it a really fine edge. So it's probably doing both. I have seen Ray Mears where after he'll sharpen it, he'll hone it on like a window, like a car window edge.
Yeah, I've heard about that. Like you can as long as it's like a rough edge, like a semi rough edge, like you can use like the bottom of a cup that's kind of like rough, not finished.
Because that's ceramic, yeah. But this is kind of dull right now. I did like a paper test and it didn't do anything, so I need to sharpen that.
that's how it came to you?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. It actually came like covered in grease, which I had to wash off, but I think that was just because when they ship it, they want to make sure it doesn't like rust or anything. Because this is carbon steel, which all my knives are, which means they can stain.
Well, that's the difference between carbon and stainless.
Yeah, and the reason people prefer carbon is, as far as my understanding goes, it's like easier to sharpen and maintain and stuff. Even though like, yeah.
Cool.
Okay, so I'm soliciting questions, and we can answer those later in the thing. Should we also call Thomas?
Yeah,
see
let's
if
see
we
if
can get him
he's gonna answer.
into.
You should talk about the Aaron Jones thing if you want.
Oh, sure. Yeah. So, I think a week ago at this point, my dad, or Aaron Jones, I should say, who's a longtime viewer and a live stream all-star, actually met my dad, but completely by coincidence. And the story, as far as I know it, how it goes, was just basically my dad was in the usual park he goes to, for hours a day and was photographing mushrooms because Andrew got him into that. He's like obsessed with mushrooms. And
More obsessed than I am. Like,
yeah. And
by
Aaron Jones
a
just
lot.
happened to be up there. I guess he happened to be up there because he wanted to go to the REI there. And just went to the park, was walking, and then just started talking to my dad about the mushroom. And I think he brought up Adventure Archives. And I don't really, for some reason, my dad didn't tell me what happened after that, but I don't know. Because I don't know if my dad was just like, oh yeah, I'm their dad.
Well, I thought he brought up Red River Gorge, and then my dad.
Oh yeah, something like that. Yeah. and I guess maybe my dad suggested it. But anyways, basically, it just so happened that just complete coincidence, they happened to be in the same spot at the same time and actually just talked to each other. And Adventure Archives came up.
Because he didn't even know he was our dad.
Yeah, no, he doesn't.
He doesn't even live in
didn't know.
Columbus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was just in town.
So weird.
Yeah.
It's funny how there are connections like that. Like with this channel, I feel like there's always these interactions happening at some surprising moments.
Mm-hmm.
Like I remember when we went whitewater rafting after the Whitney trip. We were in a bar with like the people who were part of the company and like just talking things over. And as soon as we walked out, there were just some people like at a table and they're like, "Oh, Adventure Archives." It was like, how could that have happened at a more opportune time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny.
And then the company, the Whitewater Rafting Company, is like, we've invested in a good group.
Yeah. I remember one that was like, "How much did you pay them?"
Okay. Here we go.
So how's this gonna work? Is he just directly fed into the audio?
He should be.
Well, maybe while we're waiting on that, we can talk about this project we've been working on.
Go for it.
Okay. So for the past couple of days, we've been working on a new intro for the episode. And I think we had like a lot of crazy ideas, and it eventually became something that's a little more similar to the current intro, but much more refined. But it is looking really cool right now,
Yeah.
I think.
We're still like, I would say maybe 3/4 of the way there.
Yeah, probably.
We'll probably reach. We'll probably very soon reach this point where, like, it's really fleshed out. But then we'll go through and see if there's other things we want to add. But we've got like more or less the entire basis of the thing done.
Yeah, and a lot of it is like using that effect where like you film someone and then you project an image inside of them.
In
which
photography, they call it double.
Oh yeah.
Double exposure, something like that.
Which is so cool. And it like looks so impressive every time I see it. It makes me want to like make intros for other things. But we were laughing our butts off last night because Thomas had filmed some footage last night, and he just did not have proper lighting, and like wasn't able to get the lighting right in his house at that time. And so we tried putting it in, and it just like looked so bad. And like there's the one part where we're walking or whatever, and then Thomas is just like all jittery and like it looks so. And then like the ending part, it's like us three, and then like they look really great, and we're like, wow, that looks awesome. And then it gets to Thomas's, and it's like it looks like we just like ran out of budget or something.
Should save like that version and like release it as a Patreon bonus.
Yeah, we definitely should. Oh, yeah, we should do that before we fix it.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it'll be hard to get back to it.
Well-
Okay, so Thomas, can you hear me and can you hear everybody else?
I can hear everyone. Is there anything I need to do on my end? Are we on air?
Yeah, we're on air. I'm just feeding you right into my microphone because I couldn't get the other thing to work.
Do you want me to record separate audio here?
Oh, man, hold on. I froze everything.
Uh-oh.
1 second.
Like the live stream for us?
I froze the video.
Was that still going though?
Yeah, that's still going.
Okay.
Hold on. Oh, the audio is still working. Okay. Well, that's
Okay.
good.
So actually, the funny thing is, back to the knives. The reason I started looking at knives in the first place was because I was gonna get Marisa a knife for like going outdoors and stuff, and I hadn't bought that yet. I still haven't bought it.
You know what? Like that makes me think of. That's like like you're so into something and nobody else is, so you just start giving them people things you're into and hoping they'll get into it, and they'll be like, "Thanks." Okay.
Hoping they'll either get into it or that they'll like not want the gift and be like, "Here, you can have it." It's like that Calvin and Hobbes where he gets
tuna.
Calvin tuna. Yeah.
Okay, hey, we got it. We're back in. All right, Tom, you still there?
I'm still here.
Okay, sweet. I was
Do you need me to-
zoning out.
do you
I have
need me
no
to
idea where
record?
we're at. Oh, no, you're
Need
good.
me to
You're good.
record?
You're good.
Okay.
Okay, so how are you, Thomas?
I'm doing well. I just I'm coming up on finishing my new battle station here, so excited to share that when it's complete.
Oh right.
When the battle station is fully operational.
Your VR battle station for Star Wars?
No, just my home office computer setup.
Sweet. How's the weather?
It's hot. It's 97 degrees. Very hazy outside. Pretty gross.
Oh, so we just.
Go ahead.
Oh, you good?
Oh, I was just gonna say, circling back around to the Dolly Sods topic, if that's cool with you, Rob.
That's probably what I was going to say.
We were talking about our experience hiking with Sierra, and we just wanted to hear your perspective of it, of how your experience was hiking with Sierra for the first time.
Because we were like, oh, that was a breeze, but we also weren't doing anything to take care of her.
Are you asking me that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, she's still a puppy. I'll give her that. And she does pull on the leash more than I want her to. I got a pinch collar that I use for our everyday hikes, but I didn't really want to use that on the backpacking trip because I feel like she would be stressed out a little bit too much. There are a couple things. One, with Sierra, I felt like I couldn't contribute as much to the filming as I can't set up or I can't go back and pick up a camera when she's attached to me. Two, I just had to be a little bit more mindful of the terrain. I feel like we can all pretty much hike anything, whether it's mud or rocks or anything. But when you have a puppy there, if the mud is waist high for humans, then that can be very dangerous for dogs. And if the ground is very sharp, then you got to make sure you're taking her on grass so she doesn't cut her paws. So, I just felt like I was a little bit more. I gave her 60% of my attention, whereas before I give the filming maybe 40% of my attention.
So the same amount of attention, if my math is correct.
No, I gave filming 2% of my attention this time.
Dang, I was just about to ask you something. It totally slipped my mind.
Paws, shoes, dog shoes.
Okay.
I don't know.
I do have something to add on to that. A question to add on to that, which is how much research or reading did you do on hiking with a dog? Regarding gear and taking care of her and stuff like that. How much of that did you do before the hike?
Because REI must be making a killing on that one pack.
Right. I wouldn't say I was exhaustive of that. I certainly read through a few blogs and watched a few YouTube videos and just kind of did some common sense based on conversations I've had. So, when you're hiking with your dog and your dog pretty well, you know how your dog is doing. Like I could tell she was having a blast even when I was freaking out. There were a few times where she got stressed out a little bit. And so, I tend to mirror my dog and I think vice versa. So, certainly on that the last few hours of that first day, I feel like she was having a blast, but I was getting stressed out because she was getting so muddy and she had cut her paw and everything, and I was freaking out. But she was like, "Oh, I don't care. I'm just happy to be going on a walk."
Do they make shoes for dogs? I mean, they almost certainly do. Yeah. But do you think you're going to invest in some?
If we were to do mountain hiking like we did in the Sierras, where there are very sharp rocks, or if we were to do a lot of stream crossings or something like that, I would probably buy her some booties just because she would run the risk of cutting her paw.
Well, I feel like the rocks were, I don't know, what do you think about the rocks on this, like the Rocky Ridge Trail and stuff? Because I felt like those got rough sometimes.
They weren't loose. They were boulders. So I feel like that could be, you could take it or leave it with the booties there. I'm thinking more like, and you guys might, you think about the top of Whitney and how loose and sharp those gravelly rocks were. Those are what I'm more concerned about because, with the boots that we have, you got a good solid 3/4 of an inch between you and the ground. But with her, if there's just a razor sharp rock sticking out somewhere, that could be it for her in the hiking.
Wait a minute, can a dog go up a mountain?
A dog could easily go up Mount Whitney, yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, we were talking about this earlier, but I just severely underestimate what dogs can do for some reason.
I feel like dogs can do more than humans almost.
Yeah, I'm sure they can. Just for whatever reason, I see a golden retriever. It's got long hair and it's so beautiful looking. It doesn't look like it should be able to, move.
I mean, it's probably different if you got a pug or something.
Yeah.
I think about huskies. Huskies are mush animals. They bring sleds through northern Michigan, and think of the Bernese mountain dogs. The ones in the Alps.
Those are huge.
That's a good point. Yeah.
medical supplies.
Like that one dog we saw on the
Now,
trail.
Sierra's not that.
It was like when it
she's,
came up
she's
to her
no pug
waist.
either.
It's funny because obviously your dog is really well trained, but we kept joking that like we would not want to be your dog. But apparently your dad had a similar sentiment or something.
Yeah, no, he's like, will you stop nagging the dog?
Your dog had some thoughts on your beagle too. I won't get into here.
So I remember what I was going to say earlier. It's not so much a question, but a comment. We already got some comments saying that the dog was way better than you guys in the episode. And I was thinking about that while we were editing it. I was like, dude, this dog is like, who won't like the dog more than everything else in this episode? Like every time we bring the dog, it's just like guaranteed good times to watch the dog, you know?
The funny thing is,
some of the comments now.
well, the funny thing is like during the hike, I didn't see the dog that much at all.
Yeah.
So like
yeah.
it didn't really like cross my mind the fact that there was a dog during the trip.
She did kind of just become like kind of meld into the background, you know?
Yeah. We would usually, I guess Thomas would just kind of like let her roam around when we were camping. So
Well, Thomas, did you have any other thoughts about Dolly Sods?
It's beautiful.
it was his first time there. Yeah.
I haven't found as good of weather ever since that hike. It's, we lucked out there. Sierra loved it. I'll just say that. I think after that trip, she and I kind of bonded a little closer. She still won't sleep in my bed, though.
She sleeps under your bed, right?
Yeah.
You want her to sleep in your bed?
Yeah.
So how did that start, she sleeping on your bed? Did she do that from day one?
No, she does. Underneath my bed or on top of my bed?
Underneath.
Well, day one, she was in a crate. And so you got to crate train the dog first. And then once she was pretty well crate trained, I was like, okay, maybe it's time to get rid of the crate. But I feel like she loved being able to go in tight spaces and just feel really secure there.
Yeah.
She's just a very nervous dog in general. So for her, it's like her little cave. So now, she's underneath the bed right now. That's where she always is.
Her little dog cave.
Trust me, it's not as worth it as you think it is to have a dog or a pet sleep in your bed.
Especially a big one, I feel like.
Yeah, especially probably one as big as
Wait,
Sierra.
does your cat sleep in your bed?
My cat sleeps in my bed, and every night she'll crawl, like I'll be sleeping like this, right? And then she'll just find the spot right between my knees and lay down there. And so then in the middle of the night, if I want to roll over, I have to like, ooh, that's loud. I have to like navigate my foot under the bed and then roll over.
It's funny how animals like tight spaces. Like you've sent me videos where the washing or what are those
The
called?
washing machine door or
Dryer.
dishwasher door.
Yeah, dishwasher. That's what
It'll be like down this way. Every time I go into the kitchen, she'll come in and then she'll just sit underneath the dishwasher door while I'm doing dishes, and then I'll lift it up and she'll just be like,
Until you done with them dishes.
"Hey, where's my food?"
Okay, so I think we're actually approaching an hour. Why don't we address the questions that we...
Okay,
yeah, sounds good.
We will start with...
Shiba Inus are the best dog, by the way.
I saw someone a few days ago while I was walking, and I had a dog that was like that big.
Really?
Literally that big, yeah, walking around.
Okay, well, the first one we can knock out real quick. What was the name of the muddy trail in Dolly Sods? I'd like to avoid it.
Dobbin Grade.
Yeah, it's called Dobbin Grade, and it's between the, I believe, Red Creek Trail and...
Yeah, what is that?
If you need
Between
to
the
hike
Red
that-
Creek and Beaver Dam Trail.
Yeah. And if you need to hike that direction but want to avoid it, you can try that one path that we went on originally and then turn back around. 'Cause we think that may have basically circumvented the
Well,
majority
didn't we
of that.
see where it connected again?
Yeah,
Well, we only theorized that's where it connected.
Yeah.
We ran into two people who didn't know where they were, and we believe that's where they came
Yeah.
from.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Okay. After watching the previous videos, I was wondering if there was any temptation to strip down to jump in the river this time around. And then a follow-up question from someone else, actually. Or were there too many people? LOL. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Actually, that
stripping
was
all the way down, there was way too many people.
Yeah,
We didn't
yeah.
want to blind anybody.
Yeah, they need
Plus,
their
I'm
eyes
sure
to
the
see.
editing for that is a lot more tedious when you have to do
Andrew,
that.
we've talked about this before, but Andrew literally stayed up all night tracking those stupid little heads that we put over our genitals.
I totally forgot about that.
He did like so much detail on the tracking, probably more than he needed to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably would have been easier if you didn't use like tiny graphics, but maybe something a little bit bigger.
So a little bigger, yeah. So, do you guys have a goal in mind as to the number of episodes you want to release per year, or is it something you guys don't really worry about? We've never discussed this, but I have a thought.
We've always had intentions of trying to release a certain number of episodes a year, but it's just planning is tough. Scheduling's tough. Obviously, this year is an exception too.
Yeah. That's
and
the
then
biggest thing.
there's just like weather, right? You can't if we plan a trip and the weather's just absolutely horrendous, then all those plans are lost. We have to shelve it for another time, try to find another location or something. And just life gets in the way. So it's really difficult to really stay on a steady schedule.
I would say that one episode every 1.5 months is the fastest we can realistically do it.
Yeah.
Not just planning, but also editing and also not getting burned out.
Mm-hmm.
Not even just from editing burnout, but just from trip burnout.
Right,
Yeah, yeah.
If we were doing it that often. But there have been times where we did 1.5 months like pretty consistently for a while. But trying to do one every month is not possible. We can. That's why recently we've been doing the.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say it would only be possible if we had people literally dedicated to editing the film and someone planning trips for us, and all we had to do was go on the trip and film it.
Yeah.
I think it's time to hire an intern. This is our this is
Sierra.
us announcing the Adventure Archives internship.
Internship.
Where the pay is 0 and you get real world experience.
Just to be clear, Thomas is joking. We're not hiring an intern.
Yeah. Well, so one thought I had though was like when we do bigger trips, we could plan them out so that we get 2 episodes out of them. So like we had talked about doing Iceland for a while, but like what we could do is go there, have a backpacking trip there, but also film all the rest of it as its own episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A la the road
I think
trips.
that's just smart too.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, one thing we were doing during the pandemic was also doing solo videos, and we actually got on a really good clip of one video every week. It wasn't a hiking video every week, but supplementing main episodes with solo videos is where I'd like to. Like, I feel like that's a realistic way to actually get more videos than just the main episodes.
Yeah.
And more
Absolutely.
consistent release schedule.
Yeah.
Okay. Have there been any trails you've decided not to do because it seemed like it was frequented by sketchy folks? Example, trail report says a hunting or fishing camp has been set up.
I don't think we've ever really taken that into consideration.
Yeah. The only thing,
but we read reviews like on all trails.
the closest thing I can think of is like in the moment in Allegheny, we were going off trail and we got some weird vibes and turned around.
Meh. I don't think that was that really counts though, because that was just
Yeah.
more in our heads, I would say, and the time of day because it was nighttime. I would say like maybe the closest we've come would have been like Wildcat Hollow, just because there's a lot of encroaching civilization and stuff like that. So I mean, it's possible you could maybe run into some sketchy folks out there.
I got something to say on that actually.
For the audio listeners, Andrew pulled out his kukri as self-defense.
Menacingly waved it up there.
Anyway, I was saying, there's not so much hiking spots where I've turned around, but certainly there's been towns where I've like, oh, I need to fill up on gas. And I'll drive through that town. I'll be like, nope, I'm not filling up on gas.
Well, actually, there was this time in West Virginia, we stopped into town. This was when we were doing the Firewatch thing.
Oh, right.
And
yeah,
so we
that
were
was
looking
so
for
weird.
Wi-Fi to like try and we were trying to figure out where to go and where we could camp. And so we're like kind of going down the street. There's like these small businesses, but they're all kind of closed down.
This was late at night. Everything was closed. It was dark.
Yeah, and we wanted to see if one of them had a Wi-Fi thing we could use. And so we just park and try to like, I think we got a signal or something, but
Yeah.
we're parked there trying to figure things out. And then suddenly we just see this truck pull up and like,
On the wrong side of the road. He's facing the wrong side. So he's on the left side facing us.
yeah. And then I think it just like turned its lights on and like,
Yeah, and just sat there the entire time we were there.
yeah.
It was really bizarre. Nobody ever got out of their car or anything. They just sat there.
But eventually we just got a weird feeling and like got out of there. 'Cause,
Yeah.
I don't know.
but yeah, that's I don't know. I mean, like lots of times that stuff's just in your head, but actually
Sometimes it's not,
checking the trip ahead of time, we barely even do enough planning to actually know where we're going, let
Yeah.
alone to know what it's going to be like when we get there. So,
yeah.
I guess the short answer is not really. Okay, so one more question. Oh, no. I mean, there might be more questions, but next question. What did you do for overnight food storage in Dolly Sods? Because it's an open field, you can't hang anything. And I believe you don't need to worry about it, although I did read somewhere right as we were going on the trip that there have been some bears recently. And maybe that's just the amount of people that are going out.
I think the best case for something like Dolly Sods is if you can bring a bear canister. That's probably like the best thing you can do. Because then you can like cram it into some rocks, and if you're in a campsite without trees, you don't have to worry about hanging it up.
Sanwar wants to know what's the status on the digital postcards.
Oh, yeah, I will get to those at some point.
So they're still being made, though. You're still
Yeah, those will still be sent out. I just need to play catch up. It's funny because it's like, it's a lot of effort to do those, but also once I get into a flow, I can knock a bunch out. So, yeah.
Okay. So there's a couple questions regarding like, will we ever go to X or to Y? The answer is always yeah, but nothing is currently in the works, and it's always up in the air until we actually do it.
Yeah.
But actually doing like a big international trip is going to be a while now, obviously. A big national trip, that's something we can start thinking about, though, especially if we can find some time to carve out like a driving
drive and
trip.
stuff,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
Well, I do want to say y'all need to start planning a trip down to Texas so we can do some West Texas hiking.
Yes. Actually, that might be the next big national trip is Texas, because it just makes so much sense
Yeah,
because Thomas is already there.
especially in the winter time.
Just come out after the new year.
Yeah.
Stay a couple weeks or so, and then get on your way.
Yeah, that'd be sweet. Okay, and then I thought there was one more. Oh, did Thomas move? The question was, I have been out of the AA loop. Did Thomas move?
Yeah.
He sure did.
Well, yes, I am currently a resident of San Antonio, Texas. And aside from the heat and the cockroaches, I love it here.
okay.
Oh, actually, no. On that note, so Thomas moved there, and within a week of being there, he like saw a snake, and he took a picture of it and posted it online because he wasn't sure what kind it was. And literally, the local news station made an article out of that. It was like, local man in Texas finds snake. It's like, it's just so funny to me because aren't there just a ton of snakes in Texas? Like, that's my impression of it. And it's like, I don't know.
No, and the great irony is it wasn't a rare snake or anything. It's a pretty common snake. And I've seen it a ton of times since then, but it's just funny.
It must have been a super slow news day. Did you post it to Reddit or Instagram or what?
No, I posted on the San Antonio subreddits just so they could identify it.
Oh.
Someone could identify it. Then someone was looking for a news article and messaged me. He's like, "Hey, would you be available for an interview?" I said, "Sure."
You know, that makes me think though, like
That's the end of that chapter.
we could probably have even more press about us if we wanted.
Probably, yeah. If you just if we did what Thomas did to get us that newspaper interview that one time.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you want? I can do more.
I mean,
I feel like it's time we do. I feel like it's time we start to toot our own horn again. Once we have like a catalog of material to push out, because it doesn't make sense for us to say, "Oh, look at this YouTube channel," and then we don't put anything out for another 6 months.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Before we wrap up this podcast, I do want to put out just a general message to all of our viewers and everyone, because we hit 100,000 subscribers this year, and we're almost like we're already at like 140,000 some already. So the growth has been absurd, and I think it would be right to just thank everyone who has like helped us and supported us, through this like amazing like growth in our channel over the years. So again, like a thanks to everyone who has been longtime supporters and anybody who's new to the channel. Yep.
Yeah.
Especially the people who are watching live right now. You guys know who you are.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the chat right now. I see all the names. Okay, cool. Any final thoughts, updates on life? Anything?
No.
I'm just excited for the world to meet Sierra.
Oh, right. Yeah. The episode will be public. Everybody will be able to see it by the time this is out.
When will the episode be available?
It'll be out by the time this is up.
That's true.
Yeah, so you can watch it. It's on the channel. Dolly Sods Part 3. It'll probably say like hiking Dolly Sods with a dog.
Well, it's funny because
Hiking doggy sods.
we can confidently say anyone listening to this right now can watch it on the channel because the people who are actually listening to it can watch it now.
That's true. Yeah.
But yeah,
Okay. Yeah. I think the last thing I want to say is that this is kind of funny. Greek food has become the official food of Adventure Rockets. I mean, it has been for a while, but I want to declare it on the record right now.
Ooh, why is that?
Because every time we're editing an episode, I always get the Greek food.
it's such a good because it's like fast food but good.
Yeah.
Not fast food. Good dude. Good food.
Good food fast.
Okay, I'm good. I have said my piece.
All right. Well, I'm very much looking forward to when things return a bit more to normal and we can go travel and go to Iceland and eat whale or whatever. No, I'm not. Eat some fermented
whale.
fish.
No eating whale.
No, I know. I'm just kidding. But yeah, until then, we will see you on our next adventure.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
Come down to Texas, y'all.
We will do that.
Y'all
Yeah.
come down here.
we can go down and like have a little barbecue road trip.
Okay.
I think I'm hungry.
I'm
All right.
cutting it off here.
Signing off.
Thanks everybody
All
for
right,
listening.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, have a good one.
Okay, Thomas. Thank you for joining in. I haven't ended the stream yet.
I didn't realize that. Was that the podcast?
That was a podcast. I haven't ended the stream yet, so if you want to say anything to the stream chat, you can still.
Hi, stream chat. I can't see any of the comments, so I apologize. I apologize for coming in late. I wasn't watching my messenger.
No. We
I'm
put
here.
you in late. That wasn't your fault.
Yeah, you put me in late on purpose.
We're like, well, we've run out of things to talk, so let's call Thomas.
No, you are a ringer. It was like we don't know if we're gonna have anything interesting to say. So as soon as we run out of stuff, we'll just bring you in.
Yeah, whatever.
Okay. I'm gonna hang up here and then I'm gonna end the stream and then we're gonna get to work on that intro. Did you upload that yet, by the way?
Yeah, it's been uploaded for about an hour or so.
Oh crap. Okay. Yeah. So I'll let you go and then I'll let the stream go.
Yep. Shoot me a message with anything if you have any questions.
Okay. Cool.
Cool. Bye.
All right. See you, man. Okay. Stream chat.
Let's orient this one.
Stream chat. Have a good day.
Thank you for joining us.
Yep. I don't really have anything else to say. Join the Discord if you don't. Bruce Phillips here. He's a Discord guy,
Well,
right?
one thing I'll say is sorry there haven't been super regular weekly updates, but we've been working on stuff, and soon we will have one with the new intro and stuff,
Yeah. It's gonna be good.
and then the blooper intro too, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yep. Okay.
Oh, also, who's streaming next week? Is that me? I feel like I'm.
I don't know. I don't think the schedule's out
It's
that
you.
far
I
yet.
think it's me.
It's
yeah.
probably you,
I'll
yeah.
stream next week. Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you guys.
Bye, everybody.
Have
See
a
you
good
guys.
one.